Good morning, my dear friends. The first thing I do when I think about November is adding more bulbs and planting new ones or making bulb lasagna in pots. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in this episode. I'll tell you which bulbs I'm choosing this year, which ones I'm adding, and what I'll use to make this year's, or actually next year's, bulb lasagna. My dear friends, November is also a perfect time to think about how your garden should look next year. And it's also a perfect time to subscribe to this channel. I hope that the content I present here is helpful. Helps you with how your terrace, your balcony, or your garden should look. I try to show a variety of information, and I have shown various plants, so I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let me know if you add new bulbs to your flower beds every year. My dear friends, every year I plant bulbs in my garden. I add new varieties and plant again the ones that have performed best. Every year I also make a bulb lasagna. And every year I get bulbs from Bulb&L, which is a Dutch company that provides top quality bulbs. And every year I also have a discount code for you, Hubert Lemansky. You get 5% off. I trusted Bulby because they deliver really good quality bulbs to me, big ones, always on time. So I encourage you to use their services at bulby.nl as well. The code and the website are in the description of this video. 2 seasons ago, I planted a few thousand tulips in my garden. You can watch the video of those tulips blooming. I'll link it up here. Some of those tulips bloom again, while others, as described in the variety descriptions, do not rebloom. That's why every year I select and plant new bulbs. This year, or actually next year, I decided to go with hyacinths, and I would like to plant some crocuses as well. Actually, I won't be planting any more ornamental alliums because I already have plenty, although I did order one more variety just to see what it looks like. But I will focus on plants like hyacinth and crocus. And just like last year, I really like both salmon and pink hyacinths. That's why I ordered the pink pearl hyacinth for myself. And they will actually be the main plant in my bulb lasagnas. This is a hyacinth that blooms for a very long time and works really well. And pink in the garden, in early spring, it really improves the appearance of everything. The bulbs are very large. Some are actually already ready to be planted. Because if you ordered them a bit earlier, they might have already started sprouting. So don't forget about such bulbs. Don't leave them in a warm place. As soon as you order them and they arrive, plant them in the ground right away. The rule is that we plant bulbous plants at about 3 times their height, at 3 times the height of the bulb. Unless you're making bulb lasagna, then the height can be a little different. And when it comes to lasagna, I'll tell you exactly how I plant my bulbs. Before we start making this year's bulb lasagna together, I wanted to tell you which tulips have worked best for me and which ones bloom again in my garden. The first one is the Menton tulip. It's really a fantastic tulip. It doesn't disappear. In the following seasons it might bloom less, but every other season it blooms for us. It blooms very well. So Menton, besides that pink hyacinth, will actually be the base in my bulb lasagna. Another tulip that I absolutely fell in love with is the Mango Charm tulip, which has a fantastic color. It's quite unusual because it starts out yellow and ends up around the color of mango, so it's a bit orange. And I have it this year as well. And the third tulip is Salmon Van Eyck, which, like every tulip from the Van Eyck series, also performs very, very, very well. You can see in Bolby, these tulips are sold in different quantities, 50, 100 or even more. Of course, the more you take, the cheaper it will be, and I recommend it. And as I mentioned, this year I will be planting more crocuses. I have also ordered crocuses. I have peatwig here, a type of crocus, and I also have white crocuses. And I will try to plant them in these sunny flower beds here by the house, so that in early spring they show their color and bring everyone joy as spring approaches. Next year I'll have bulb lasagna in these galvanized buckets, because I decided that I'll put these buckets next to my greenhouse. Of course, I won't be making the lasagna in these buckets. They'll just serve as outer pots. I make the lasagna in a regular nursery pot, which fits perfectly into the bucket. It's important to make holes in the bucket so the water doesn't stay there, because too much water for tulips is absolutely not good. Not just for tulips, but for all bulb plants. Of course, just like you make classic lasagna, that is, layering bulb plants at different levels. At the very bottom, I put a bit of soil, and the first ones will be tulips, in this case Salmon Van Eyck, which I will place quite tightly on this soil. Tightly means that on one layer I'll put, I don't know, 10 tulips. I'd like these lasagnas to be really rich, so more tulips, 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe even more than 10 on the sides. What's important for taking care of this bulb lasagna is to put it somewhere under a roof so there's not too much moisture. At first they can stay in the garden. If you want to give them a bit of a head start, you can put them in the greenhouse in the spring. And of course we need to check the moisture level of the soil. It's not that we don't have to take care of them at all. It's worth checking, especially if they're under a roof, to see if they need watering. I have the first layer, so now I'm covering it with a thin layer of soil. Next come the hyacinths, because hyacinths grow lower than tulips and will form the middle part of my arrangement. I'm also adding quite a few hyacinths, although not as many as tulips, because they take up more space. And besides, they need to leave a little space here for the tulips that will be coming up from underneath. So here we have 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 12 tulips, so I'll put 9 hyacinths here. And I also covered the hyacinths with the right amount of soil, so now I'm really just preparing for the crocuses. On the very top, my friends, I put the plants that bloom the earliest, which are crocuses and small varieties of irises. And I really put quite a lot of them here. They have much smaller bulbs, so I don't have to cover them with such a thick layer of soil, which is why they're perfect for the very top. Crocuses mixed with these kinds of irises. Actually, I spread them evenly across the whole area, remembering that the most reasonable and best way to plant these bulbs is so that where they put out roots, that part goes down. Of course, if you just throw the bulbs in like that, they'll manage, but they'll grow beautiful flowers much easier and faster if they're planted properly, meaning with the roots facing down. So the part where the roots grow should be facing down. The first bucket with my bulb lasagna is already done. This year, I plan to make at least 8 or 10 buckets like this, so it looks great in front of the greenhouse in the spring. If you're not making lasagna in this classic way and want to plant bulbs directly in the ground, of course, now is also the right time. I recommend getting either something like this or something like that. It's very helpful, unless you're using the so-called open cut method, where you remove a layer, place the bulbs there, and then cover them up. Then what you'll need more is, for example, a shovel or a spade. Listen, I have one last message for you, because starting today until December 15th, there's a discount on my series of t-shirts with plant designs. Check it out at www.flowerexpress.pl. The link is here and also in the description of this video. There's a 30% discount there, so you can, for example, give it as a gift for St. Nicholas Day or for Christmas. I encourage you to do it because it's nice to have t-shirts like this with a great design. See you in the next episode.